Hi, Hi, ladies. Welcome to another episode of the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I am your host, Rebecca Barr, and I'm super excited to be chatting with you today off the back of the most incredible in-person event that I just recently had in London, which was a beautiful expansion event for some incredible women that work in business, female entrepreneurs like myself. I essentially brought together a collective of women to really give them some intentional time to be working on their business, especially at this time of the year at the beginning of 2023. So, and obviously it was just the most beautiful event. The venue was fantastic. The women were fantastic. The energy was amazing. And it is definitely cemented for me that that is something that needs to happen going into 2023. I need to be able to facilitate and create more containers for those kind of events because it's so powerful. So one thing I feel really passionate about as a business coach and as a woman in business is that whenever there are opportunities for learnings and for growth, is that we pay that forward and share it with other women. Because if I can shortcut anybody's success or allow them to learn from my mistakes or my reflections, then even better. That's what I'm here to do. So what I wanted to do in today's episode was essentially just really share some of my key takeaways from the event, in case you may also want to add in-person elements to your business this year to support you in sharing your message, more visibility, and essentially bringing more joy to your business. So the first thing I want you to do, and it's really practical, this actually comes from my corporate background. So prior to being a woman in business and an entrepreneur, I was a HR manager in corporate. So I focused on talent development, and it's all around kind of facilitating that inner potential inside someone, and learning and development stuff, agreed outcomes and goals. It sounds quite masculine, but it's very true. So the first thing I would say is, even prior to the event, set the intention. Why do you want an in-person event? What is the purpose of it? Now, full transparency, cards on the table. For some people, it may be an opportunity to sell, in which case, fantastic, and I know a lot of coaches that do that adopt that strategy as part of their sales and marketing strategy, i.e. get people to a low ticket event and then upsell them into high ticket masterminds. It actually works really well because it's a really great opportunity for people to understand your energy and your values and really see you in action before they decide if you are the person for them. So I actually quite like that approach, actually, and I know that it works really successfully, and there's coaches that make 6 and 7 figures from those kind of events. I mean, it's not done Tony Robbins any harm, has it? For me, though, the intention of this event really was to just start the year with a bang, bring together a collective of really incredible women, and it was a paid event, so there wasn't really any formal pitch at the end. And I would say one of the takeaways really was, people are not stupid, and they know if they're going to be getting to these events. I've been to events that have been done very badly, where literally the second half of the day, if not all day, it is just one constant sales pitch, and it's really draining, and it really takes away from the energy, and it really annoys people. So I would say, do that work beforehand. What is the purpose of it? Is it to increase, position me as a leader? Is it to increase my visibility and brand? Is it to sell? Is it a lead magnet? Or is it just something like with mine, where the intention of it was just genuinely value service? But also, I'm not silly. I'm going to leverage the images, the content that was created on the day, the opportunity for me to be seen as an expert. I'm obviously going to leverage that in other ways, but I didn't need to do that from the women that were in the room. So for me, it was all about leading with value and just having this beautiful experience, really. And also I had some of my current clients there already, so for them it was just adding that next layer of experience in terms of for them, really. So it was all about the collective, adding value, and just having a really fun time. Particularly, I used to run a lot of in-person events prior to COVID, but this was my first opportunity to get back on the horse since COVID. So for me, it was just about the connection. So first of all, once you're there then, so you've got to set the scene in terms of the venue. You know, don't scrimp on the venue. My venue was insane. It was so beautiful. And it was because I really wanted to create this mood, this vibe, and just a really relaxed, beautiful, intimate luxury experience. That's part of my brand. You know, to work with me is not cheap. I'm not a cheap coach. I'm not a bargain coach. It's about the whole experience, because it's also about, as women, stepping into that beautiful experience. You know, you don't need a return on investment, ROI, for every element of your business, every investment that you make. It's about allowing yourself to receive and just have beautiful, nice things. Why not? Obviously, I'm a money mindset coach, so that felt good to me. But obviously, once you're there, it's about making sure that you are aligned in those goals and objectives. So one thing I always feel, circling back to my HR days, is that everybody knows what page you're on right from the outset. What were the goals and outcomes for that day? What is everybody's intention? It really helps to guide you in terms of where to put your energy and where to spend the most time throughout the day. Obviously, I've got a background in events actually as well, and it's all about intuitively knowing what the collective needs and wants and what's going to give them the most incredible experience. So agreeing those goals and outcomes are really good, but also it's a smart move, because then at the end of the day you can circle back and, you know, remind everybody the tangible outcomes as well as the intangible of what they've received during that day. The next thing I would say is around honoring the energy of the group and making sure that everybody is aligned. I have been in programs, I've been in masterminds, I've been to events where it was literally anyone who can pay can come, and there was a real kind of misalignment in terms of energy, mindset, attitude, like all of the things. So for me, this was just a collective of really beautiful women that are all really heart-led, really purpose-driven, really self-led as well, and just here to do big things. So that felt really great for me. It was actually on Blue Monday, so Monday the 16th of January, and apparently I read that it's the most common day for like people with depression. But I feel like as a collective we raise the energetic vibrations just by bringing such a beautiful group of women. And on that note, I would also say it's really important to facilitate those opportunities for real connections. That's the purpose for me of in-person events versus Zoom. And it's about, with the end user in mind, you know, like, as I said, I've been in programs and been at events where it's the only person really getting something out of that event is the person that's selling at the end. You know, for me, it was about facilitating those incredible connections and just being, you know, able to kind of make sure that the right person gets to meet the right person, that everybody's aligned, that the integrity and the energy of the group is really good, and that everybody, whether they stop with this person or that person, is going to get some value from those interactions. And for a lot of the women that I realized, you know, it was a long time since they've been doing these sorts of things. And for some of them, it was actually the first time that they'd ever really had that beautiful moment in their business that wasn't just hustle, grind, business, doing the damn thing. I would say obviously have a plan and structure for the event, and obviously make sure that you are giving value. Not worrying about being perfect, but just making sure that you've got value, you've got a structure, you're taking them on a journey, there are real tangible outcomes, but allowing yourself some space in that schedule, so that if, like I say, I had a whole big workbook planned, and I did that with intention, because I realized that, you know, as the day progressed, there may be opportunities where I need to pivot, where I need to lean into more areas and away from other areas, i.e. allow more time for conversations and networking versus training and structure. But the workbook in itself was enough for anybody who needed to take some of it away and reflect. So there was quite deep journal prompts in there that, you know, and some of the stuff that masculine kind of, you know, business planning structure, and questions and plans and stuff that they could put together that might need a bit more reflection. So it's about understanding everybody's learning styles, everybody's preferences, and all of those great things, and just being open and flexible to whatever people need on the day. Because ultimately, you know, nobody's coming to an event for a tick box. You know, yes, there will be the value element, but it's also about, like I say, blowing their mind once they're there through the connections genuinely. So hopefully, as I've said, you know, don't feel even if you feel like you're not ready right now, maybe you're not at that stage in your business where it makes sense to be hosting these events. There is a cost element, that event essentially is part of my marketing budget. So there is not necessarily an ROI on that event. It cost me thousands to host. I could have done it in cheaper ways, more affordable ways, but for me it needed to happen. That felt really good for me. There's cheaper ways to do it, but that wouldn't have been in alignment with my brand or the experience that I wanted to create. So you have to be in integrity with what it is that you want to do, but don't feel the pressure to be perfect and wait for these things. Like, if you feel in your heart right now, I just want to get an incredible group of women together, what if I don't have the budget to invest in a huge venue or all of the things, then do something smaller, but make sure that you just do it, because it will really pay you back in so many different ways. Good karma, as well as positioning you as an expert, as well as increasing your chances of sales, as well as just having a really beautiful day for you and your business too. So I hope that you found those takeaways really useful. Let me know which you are going to move forward with in your business. Hopefully this has given you some inspiration to just do the damn thing, because essentially that's really what moves your business through. That's where you get that growth and the excitement. That continued expansion is essentially the whole purpose of life and business for me. So hopefully I've given you some ideas as to how you can really make the most of those events. Obviously ensure that you've got some sort of opportunity to sell, either a downsell or an upsell going forwards, and some sort of incentive for the women that are like, oh my God, yes, I absolutely love your energy. Support them in making that decision become a hell yes, this needs to be now. So you can create a sense of urgency through price incentives and those sorts of things, but ultimately just be open to receiving whatever that event is going to come for you, open to you. And I hope you have enjoyed this podcast episode today. Thank you so much. It's just a brief one because I wanted to get the value out and just kind of download really off the back of the event before I move on to other things. It's all super important to really allow yourself the time to decompress and reflect on these beautiful experiences and milestones as you move through your business journey, without just moving on to the next thing. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I'm sure that I will have many more of these reflections to come. Lots of big plans for this year, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Make sure that you like, comment, or subscribe. It will really help me to reach other business women and be the change that I want to see.